You know, to avoid being set off in a bubble in the middle of nowhere, or being considered as sitting in a bubble in the middle of nowhere, as I hit quick play and decide on Goizo Curious Birthmark, eh? And as the title shows, we're gonna be Yashiro. So, Goizo Curious Birthmark. Let me just make sure I hit those two. Background God, that background God combination. Before I forget. But yeah, we'll talk about recent matters because they do pertain to gaming. I mean, and if you haven't heard, well, allow me to inform you here. Not that there aren't better people to, you know, inform you of these issues, but I can give what small, if I have any unique takes, I'll try to think of them as we get into Goizo Curious Birthmark character exclusive. Yashiro, I'll say his name a bit more positive this time because I always say it in a bit of a negative way, but. I think the main two things, I think there's a third one, aside from, you know, consoles coming out, new consoles coming out. Strength, Dexterity, Tachi-san, Charisma, every single stat check, Light, and maybe a Tachi-san check. We'll go for 2 runs, and this might be one of, well, if you don't already hear it, because I forgot to make a post. If you didn't already hear it, yeah, this week is going to be a bit of a, not like a vacation, hiatus week, or break week, because I might be putting out videos here and there. Just know that if I don't put out a video during the day, I won't try to, because I don't want to flood your feed with notifications. I'm trying to announce during this, well, apparent weekend, this video should come out, like, on the weekend, that, yeah, things may happen. But aside from that, recent matters, we'll talk about it, because that's the juicy stuff. Hey, yeah, I heard about a certain, online multiplayer game, Scissors, Recluse, Coma, Sailors, and Footage, getting some paid features that you have to pay into and to get certain features. Now, there is another facet of this, and well, I mean, I can see why they might have done it. Do I believe it'll happen more in the future? I can see why, because basically when money comes in, if a developer or a team working on a game likes money, they're going to take the money. So if that involves, say, ads, or working, or even, which may not be more public, but can happen behind the scenes, if a development team is we'll say development team for now, if a development team is offered I need a run from this, by the way, is offered basically, in this case, some monetary compensation to put in features in a game, or just ads in this case, then yeah, I can see why, and I think you can see why, monetary-wise, it might not be the most ethical, and whether or not legal, well, legal depends on the place of residence. Obviously, you shouldn't do something illegal, but ethically, people, you know, sometimes that doesn't matter to people. I mean, I can't deny that because I've seen it for myself. So, in the gaming sphere anyway. So if someone is offered, depends on the threshold. Do they want 10,000 euros? Do they want millions of one? So on and so forth. When you're offered enough money, some people will flip. Now, obviously, this value changes or does not exist based on certain values that the person might have, ideals and whatnot. Like if you're just out to make a game for yourself, sure, right? You're probably not going to be driven by monetary value, even though that might sound contradictory to some, because some consider gaming to be a more, how should I say this? What's the best way to explain that I can get through to my brain, to my voice, is that they want, oh god, I need a cough. Some people are in it for the money, and some people are in it for the art form, but if I had to say, even though I would want it to be more balanced, I would say most people are in the game development for monetary value. Not everyone, that's why some people, I mean, I would say it's closer to, say, what? A 45-55 split? Probably more than that. And the 40% is comprised up of other things in terms of, you know, what people are looking for. Some games are an experiment, like, for example, I like to put out prototypes of games just to see how, you know, maybe practice how to respond to gamers, people who play my game, learn what kind of target audience I may be receiving, even though I may now have no analytic value. So all I have to do is, all I can use to analyze what my audience is, you know, what is how they speak or respond to me. Wow, I have missed 30-50% attacks, and at this point we're just in for the long haul. Oh my goodness, I can't hit a 50% to save my life. That's why we're doing 2 runs. But essentially, if we were to rewind back to the point, you know, when you want money, you're going to do certain things in your video game, and anyone is free to do that. The not caveat, but the bigger part of this is that, you know, people may or may not stop playing your game. Now, obviously, people who are... How do I say it? What's the best way to say it? Because I just saw myself die to reason here. People who are invested in a game, for example, I'm invested in World of Horror, so that's why I'm doing World of Horror videos here and there. Non-stop, back-to-back, but again, for me, I've explained my stats, and for those who don't know, World of Horror is just one of the easier games for me to record and or stream at the moment, while I'm doing game dev. Otherwise, I have no opportunity to work on game development, which is something we can talk about later on another topic. But for now, we're talking about, yeah, I'm not asking people to understand, but you do have to know the reason why certain development teams, game companies, and whatnot may or may not make the decisions. It helps you... And I think that helps you determine, you know, what you may or may not want to play. And now, another caveat or detail to this is how good a game is. So if a game is good, you know, I do also think that audience, or the people who play the game, the target audience, are more willing to forgive certain things being in game because the game is so good. There is a kind of a balancing scale on this. But at the same time, again, we're at this point, I think personally, if you were to ask me, we're at a point where development teams are basically trying to find out where the exact line is, like where, because if they're like, oh, if I can, basically the thought is, if I can get more money, we're going for the cursed scissors, by the way, if I can get more money, this might be bad for Recluse, by the way, if I can get more money, then, you know, we can sneak this in, we'll put this in, you know, we're getting more money, and again, some people, I can't deny that some people are just mainly in it for monetary value, so they're gonna make decisions that cause them to get money. There's not really much else to say there. Personally, again, you know, if you give me a big enough amount, depending on what you want me to do, I may sell out, but it's not likely to happen. There are some, let's just say there are some games and whatnot that I will not undertake, no matter how much you pay me. Not just because of my own values and ideals, but because there's also a very pragmatic value. You have to, you know, there's a reason why in life there are human beings with professions, or at least that are good at, how should I say, I guess reading the atmosphere, that's not the best phrase for it, but it's the most appropriate one I can think of at the moment. So, being able to read the atmosphere, read what's going to predict what's going to happen as a result of your decisions, obviously not every human being, especially not every human being, can perform that to a very high degree. I feel like if that were the case, humanity would be in a better place, but that's not the case, so hey, also we're gonna gamble on a 70-60, and if we die, we die, because that's what we have another run for. Yeah! Okay, good. I did survive for now. Where was I? I lost my train of thought. This is why I should be streaming when I'm actually talking about things like this, but again, rewinding back, you know, there are some things I really don't agree with as a game dev, just as a personal point. Oh my goodness, can I run away from this? I have to. Keep in mind, we're on Scissors and Recluse, so it's not so bad at the moment, but... Also, I'm about to hit my first level up at the end of my second mystery here, assuming we can even get out, because we are in a lot of pain. So, can I even survive this, is the first question. Otherwise, I think I'm pretty sure I have to go for a dodge at this point. Let me just concentrate for a moment, sorry. I know you may be at the edge of your seat, or not, or the edge of your eardrums if you're just listening to me. I'm going to dodge, by the way, this is going to not go well. We did dodge. Can I do anything else? I can throw this wooden bat first. Excuse me. And I'll keep the point in my mind, because I actually kind of have notes beside me to remember what the heck I'm doing. But, yeah, we need to somehow do 12 HP's damage at least. Otherwise, if I only need to get one hit in, which I can't even dodge into... Would a better weapon have helped me here? No, so I just have to go for dodges here. I could go for a... Can I even brace into a kick? No, I can't, can I? No, I can't. Yeah, I can. I'd have to trade off 2 reason for 1 stamina, so we'll go as close as possible. We'll make it as less risky as possible while doing the best we can. We can do it again. I know we can't do it again. Well, never mind. I don't want to throw the army knife. That would be the last resort, but we have Recluse next, unless I don't take Recluse. I don't think the army knife even does that much damage, so I guess we are just gonna go for the big one. Oh my goodness, that's worse than dodge, actually. So you know what? We're actually going to dodge instead. Excuse me. So 6750. So about a 33% chance to hit this. And we die for it. So into the next run we go. But yeah, the topic... So there are some basic features that I do not agree with. For example, security features. And if you have, I mean, I don't remember everything myself, so Ath scars all perks, by the way, so let me just get that in. So, Ath scars all perks. But yeah, security features like being able to recover your account, but you have to pay a company. That's, I mean, again, to each developer their own, you're free to do that, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of pushback at this moment. Again, I forgot to look too deeply into it. All perks, by the way, so I'll do all perks, Yashiro. I completely forgot. Ath. I think it's Ath. I'm just gonna say Ath. So he's been to Ath, all scars, all perks, Yashiro once more. Yeah, I don't think security features should be locked behind a paywall. There are obviously already games that kind of do that to an extent, but yeah, it's probably not going to be looked too highly, at least on the gamer sense. For the general audience really isn't usually attuned to things that happen in the gaming sphere, for better or worse. So knowledge, strength, like Toxic-san's second mystery, maybe a charisma check. We'll go for the hardware store, by the way. But that's one of, I think, 2 features I saw that this certain game is kind of basically, it is locking behind, you know, subscribe membership, and I think it's like $10.99 USD. But basically, anything more than like $5-6 is, you're already skirting the line. I think $5 is usually, from what I've seen, a kind of safer point. People will complain, but you'll have a lot more people worry about it. And yeah, to some extent, it is a matter of, you know, someone who has money or not. But I'm kind of on the line of, as we have Festival, Scissors, Painting, Arms, and Sailors, I'm on the line of thinking, you know, you still need to have, because if everyone was, basically, if everyone was a whale or a dolphin, gaming would be in a lot different place, but that's not the case. I do think more than I think there's a lot of influence that basically the common man has in at least the gaming sphere, but again, we'll see what actually happens. Things may or may not be. If I had put money down, I feel like some things are going to be walked back, but this membership plan that this game is putting forth is still going to go through. Now it's going to go through in a complete form again. If I had to put money down, I'd say like 75% of the changes are going to be going through. I would put money down that it's not going to be retracted like in whole at all. I think this decision is going to go through. I don't want it to go through for the sake of, you know, being ethical, an ethical gaming experience. But again, when you're in it for the money, and I'm not saying these people are in it for the money, I'm just saying I feel like there's I mean, usually the reason why you put ads in a game, aside from just connections, that's another big part, but right on top of that would be monetary gain or resources in some manner, shape, or form. And I know that's a bit vague, but if you were to say, Jordan, be specific, I would say basically like literally money that you can put in your bank account or put into your, you know, your company's balance sheet and be like, hey, we have more to work with. So everyone will say that it's to make a better gaming experience or to make a better game, but it's for the money. So yeah, anywho, let me concentrate here first because I could die here if I'm not paying careful attention. I should be able to do this unless the stamina bug happens, and thankfully we do. I think we have to do more though. I can brace. I think I have to get down to 12 HP before I can guarantee this, right? If I recall correctly. Well, we can just do this. So yeah, this is 9 damage. I have to gamble for a 77% on 12, and I think the win bet does 12 when thrown, but for the sake of just being safe, I'm just going to do another prep strong. Hopefully nothing weird happens. And this video doesn't end immediately, because I would like to talk about more stuff. -7 faith, that's just the result of being Yashiro here, but hey. And then we'll option select this, because if the Scissor Lady doesn't go, that was a little slow, but we're fine for the moment. And now we have one of the better weapons of the game. I think there are like at least 3 weapons. That's why I didn't say best weapons. Best, when I say best, I usually mean top 3. But yeah, that's the case. And again, just to remind people, it's not really a unique point. I think everyone can eventually come to the conclusion that, you know, someone does something for the money, but it's easy to forget. And again, at least from a very wannabe dev at this point perspective, yeah, I can, you know, monetary value does play a point on top of anything else you can gain. Again, that's kind of the more unique stance. I mean, it's not something that you can't come up with yourself, but I should have actually rested more. Why did I do this to myself? Well, we get Ryoko, that's why. But yeah, that's the situation. And if you don't know what game I'm talking about, I'm sure it's a very generalized, popular game. It's not like what everyone's playing at the moment, but I know, and it's a game that's been rooted since earlier times, so if that doesn't clue you in, you'll eventually hear about it yourself from more visible outlets, streamers, content creators, so on and so forth. And that's all I have to say. But in other news, there is something else, and it's kind of closer to the people who watch my content, just based on how, you know, because I made videos on Path of Exile, and that should all be all I need to say to introduce the next point. So, the only unique stance that I may have, well, it's not like unique, like, oh, I'm the only one saying it, but it's something that it's easy to forget, and I've forgotten it at times too. But when you're gaming and stuff, it's just better to be out and be honest. Granted, now the other side of this is that there may be other factors at play in terms of, you know, is it worth the risk? And yeah, some people might just not have the foresight to see, or they may have underestimated the gaming sphere in terms of basically determining, oh, I'm gonna basically fool these people, for lack of a better word. There's a better word for it, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So the point I'm trying to get at is there's a reason why people stream and make content, and it's not the majority of the reason, but it's to show off your skills and whatnot, right? But at the same time, the more you stream, like, I think I've mentioned this before, and if I haven't, I'm saying it now, but I feel like I have. We're going to run away from this, by the way. As great as the strength and dexterity would be, you know what? Actually, no, is it not worth? Can I brace, by the way? Hold on, excuse me. Kind of, but it's not worth it anyway, so 6, 6, 12 Doom for the thing. I think that's worth it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. So, I don't think that saves, so I have to just do this normally. But, so, okay, let me just say what I was trying to say. The more you play, and the more you stream, at least as a content creator, the more transparent you become, basically, and the more someone sees the true you. There's a better phrase to say it, but basically, you as a human being will come out more and more the more you play games. I think that's a very, again, to Purple Prose this, a beautiful part of gaming is that you see people, and it's not a one-way street. I think you can become a better human being in a lot of other aspects, not just gaming, but video games, I think, at least in this day and age, the more you stream and the more you make videos, and obviously if you're good at kind of masking who you are, putting on a mask, for better or worse, you know, there's a positive and negative way to do that too. Obviously, you can fool people or not, again, reveal the real you. But, again, I think the more you stream and the more you video game, overall, I would say, like, there's a 70% chance, if we're to kind of generalize it, that the truer you continues to come out, especially as you play different genres of games. You know, hold on, let me see here. Oh, I can't use, I'm gonna hold on to it, though. But, Seal of Savesh for strength. What was I trying to say? Also, we need a rest here, or we die. But, I mean, you know, I'm even gonna heal Reason. So yeah, the more you play a game, the more you're going to, you know, reveal yourself as a human being, I think, in my opinion. Again, if we're to generalize it, there's like a 70% chance. And again, there are some people who are good at kind of, you know, that's why video editing exists, if you want to go so far as to do that. And that's not to say you do it mainly for this means, and obviously you edit videos to make them easier, like, you know, more entertaining, because that's what content creation is. But as it pertains to Path of Exile, yeah, I mean, you've seen my Path of Exile videos. I try not to hide who I am too much. There are parts of myself that I am working on as a human being, and I think if people come out and try to say I'm trying to become a human being, I think that's a applaudable thing, and it should be promoted. But if instead you're trying to, you know, it's better to just be truthful in the gaming sphere, and that's not something that everyone can do, and there may be valid reasons why you cannot do so, but shrug. When you get caught, I mean, sure, there are things you may or may not be able to do. We'll see what happens in the coming week, because I don't think this is over yet. I think we're only getting started. Well, we're past getting started, but we're not at, like, the halfway point of this thing, and I'll be really vague because I'm not cool enough. I'm too much of a coward to really stick my neck too much far out there, even though I'm already doing so already in a sense. But I mean, it's not like gaming is some kind of holy thing, holy profession. But at the same time, I think there's a kind of a, not a blind side, I think everyone can obviously see this to some extent, but to kind of just say it, obviously if gaming was just just one person playing games, at the same time, on the flip side of that, there is money involved in the gaming, like gaming is a sector now, so there's a reason why it earns just as much, as like movies and television at the moment, if not more. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's definitely not a small amount. So when money is involved, obviously, at a certain point, you also have to go into the argument that is, don't get in between a man and his money. So while, yes, we maybe just be people sitting playing video games, and just like a lot of other facets of life, even though you may look down at some parts of people's lives, if someone's doing it and making money off of it, I'm kind of doing like a motion in real life, but it's kind of something between a shrug and me leaning forward and giving you kind of a look, or if I had a camera that works, a look. But yeah, money's involved, and so at this point, sometimes it's reputation, sometimes it's kind of the ego of skill, or believing that you have a lot of skill. But if that were the case, again, as something I've also feel like I've said before, you would just become a professional competitive gamer in whatever game that you decide to do that is paying out quite a lot of money. That, in this case, we'll just say, because I'm more in tune with fighting games, you would go into leagues or tournaments for Tekken 6 or Tekken 7. Oh my goodness, I'm going crazy. I'm so sorry. But that's what I mean. Like, your real self comes out when you're at least making content and stuff or streaming enough times, where you're like, oh, Jordan, you forgot. But that's me. I'm a forgetful person, and like, I'm trying to be not as forgetful. Street Fighter 6, Virtual Fighter, when that comes out with its new and improved form, obviously these things happen. So if you're really as skilled as you think you would be making a living out of it. There's certainly even you don't even have to be competitive in tournaments. If you play any game like Wilds coming out to a very competitive or not competent level, people will watch your content. Now, I'm not saying ad revenue is good or bad, but you'll get if you're looking for reputation and fame and not exactly fortune, but fame to some extent, you would play basically what is relevant and be very good at it. And again, as a human being, if you're just good at, at least in video games in general, I think it would show when you start making a channel, start streaming more, so on and so forth. And, my advice to you would be just to, by the way, we can't take Zeal, sad. I'm so sad. But you would just, you would use titles like the best X of said game, and then you would just do that over and over. And yeah, at some point there is a kind of obviously not everyone can be the best. So, but then again, if you're the best at what you do, you would just play at a competent level. So as we rewind back to the Path of Exile situation, again, gamers are not dumb, I feel, as a general. As human beings, as a whole collective, our intelligence might not be the highest. But if you were to look at gamers and gaming in general, I think a lot of people know what they're seeing, especially if you know your game to some extent. So for example, just a very small example, but it's because World of Horror is obviously what I play the most of here. When I see people playing World of Horror, if I look immediately and someone says, oh, I'm playing on Harbinger, but I don't see this little blood splash behind the character, I obviously know you're not playing on Harbinger. So, small little things like that. And yes, obviously if you skip a Chaos Orb in Path of Exile, maybe we could say, oh, maybe they have a lot of Chaos Orbs, but, obviously we know the truth. So, anywho, do I die for this, by the way? I don't think I die for this. We are on Timeline B, by the way. And if we can get out of this, I think we're perfectly fine. So, we even get the Restless bonus for as much as that matters. But I do have to spam Rest, I'm pretty sure. Actually, do I even... Well, yeah, I do survive stamina-wise. I have 8 strength. I was about to say... But, yeah, so we should be able to survive no matter what. But I am gonna... Actually, let's just be very prudent here. Or careful. So I lose 2 reason. I lose... Oh my goodness, my burp. Knowledge strength. I lose 3 stamina. And I have a light source. So we should be okay no matter what. We do have to fight Takshisan, but if I do this, I should be perfectly fine. And I think I fight Takshisan before I can even lose any more reason, so... Shrug! I did Scissors first. I think I did Festival second because I was like, I'm in pain. But yeah, if there's anything else, I feel like there's something else I was forgetting to speak about, but I think we're fine for the moment here. So, Yeah, just the more you play a game, I feel the more the you comes out. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean you can't play for your own. If you're playing games to have fun, you're playing games to have fun. I'm just saying that, you know, if you're gonna call yourself good at a game, at least when you play for real, or if you have someone play for you, there are ways, you know, even if that fools gamers, people who are good at video editing, can see. That's what, you know, that's what speedrunners are very, very, at least meticulous over. Is that they're gonna look at, you know, is a video spliced? Are there weird cuts? Does everything make sense? Because if that's the case, obviously that would be the. If you're trying to fool someone, again, objectively speaking, you would work on that. But at a certain point, like, you can't take your hands off the controller while you're streaming, show your hands, and somehow the gameplay is still working. But anywho, you know, if you have any other questions or whatnot, I'm here. I'm not going to take up much more of your time. I'll see you later. Thank you for watching. Bye!